Hi friends, thank you for joining me for Discoveries in Mixed Media. Today our focus is going to be working with cheesecloth and fibers. So hopefully you have some cheesecloth around. If you don't, that's okay. You could use burlap. And then if you don't have any of that, that's okay too. You can substitute any kind of fabric really. But I wanted to focus on cheesecloth because it's something different. I've had it in my stash for a while and I haven't used it in a really, really long time. And so I kind of like to get into some things that I haven't used and sort of re-embrace it, right? So that's going to be my focus today. And I hope you will join along and create something beautiful for yourself today as well. Just so you know, every Wednesday I will be creating a video for Discoveries in Mixed Media, and we will be doing something different each week. It's designed to help people that don't have that much experience with mixed media. And if we pick one new element each week, then it's not so overwhelming. Sometimes mixed media can feel overwhelming because there's so many options. There's more options now for mixed media than there ever has been. So we're just going to pick one or two new things each week and just have a play. So I hope you are enjoying this series, and if you would like to play along, please do. If you create videos, just mention that you were inspired by creating with Jovi's Discoveries in Mixed Media, and then if you want to share in my Facebook group, you can do that too, which is Creating with Jovi Journals and Crafts. And before we get to the video, I just want to let you know real quick that memberships are now available on my channel, and there are 4 tiers, and maybe one of those tiers is perfect for you. Hello my friends, welcome to Discoveries in Mixed Media. Today we are working with textured backgrounds, so I grabbed a few things. This is a piece of burlap. I happen to had already put some paint on it, so I want to embrace that because actually I've got some cheesecloth that will go with that quite well. So burlap is one of the textures. If you have that on hand, that's great, and if you don't, that's okay. We have some other choices here. Then we have cheesecloth, and cheesecloth is a lot of fun, and you can take it and cut it, but then you can shape it really easily. Now I purchased this and it was already this color, but you can dye your own cheesecloth if you want to. If you have white, you can take I would say maybe equal parts of acrylic paint and water, mix that real good, and then put your cheesecloth in it and it will color it for you. So cheesecloth is another texture if you happen to have that on hand. And then if you didn't, but you happen to have some sort of applique, that would make a beautiful piece of texture to work with. So grab that if you've got it. And if you don't have any of those, go ahead and just grab yourself some fabric. This is a piece of scrap, as you could see, and since my focus for my project today is going to be the cheesecloth and the burlap because that's a little bit of a different texture, but I have this because if I can work it in, I will, because it's so pretty and it looks so nice with this. And if all goes well, because I really don't have too much of a plan, I just like to gather my scraps and see what inspires me, and this did. If all goes to plan, or, well, I don't have a plan, but if all goes well, then we'll be able to use all 4 of these things in our art piece today. But you just grab whatever you have that you feel would be comparable. I even have this. This might work its way into it. If you have something like this, a little crocheted piece, that might work. All right, my friends. So I'm going to go get myself a piece of mixed media paper, and we'll get to work. Friends, I had committed to myself to make master boards from the scraps on my desk, and all of these were scraps on my desk. So I went ahead and made a master board, and really I hadn't even thought about today's Discoveries in Mixed Media when I made this, but look, the colors are great. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. Why not? It's ready to go. So if you have something like that you also want to work with, feel free to do that, right? You know, grab what you have. You might even have an unfinished project, and using some texture over top of your unfinished project might be great, you know? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure this and figure out if I was going to make I could do one of two things today. I could make a journal cover or I could make a tag. Well, several tags actually. And so I'm just sitting here looking at it. This is 12 inches across, which would make 3 4-inch tags, or 4 3-inch tags, but that's a little bit small. So I think I'll go for the 3 4-inch tags. And actually, before I cut that, I'm gonna trim. See how there's a little bit of white here? Let's go ahead and get rid of that. And that way we don't have to worry about it later. I also wanted to let you know, my friends, that I've been trying to get into my jewelry stash and use up some of that. So I went ahead and grabbed some pieces that actually have teal in them, or the greens. And so this is what I've grabbed. And hopefully, this one's blue, but you never know. So hopefully some of this will make it into the project today. We'll find out. We have to have it here, have it ready to inspire us, and see how it goes. My friends, another option we have is to do a journal cover and then like 2 tags. And part of me feels like maybe we should give that a try. So if we're gonna do that, then let's go ahead and cut our first piece at, let's say, 3 1/4. That should make a big enough tag. Yeah, that is definitely a big enough tag. Okay, and it looks pretty already. And then let's see what happens. Let's see what we have left. We've got 8 1/2. And so for a journal cover, usually our journals are about 6 inches wide, a little bit smaller than that maybe. So I would say, yeah, if we do a tag, another 3 inches for a tag, which would be right here. Let me see what that leaves for us. Leaves 5 1/4. I mean, that's plenty. So actually, let's do our tag at 3 1/4, and that'll leave a 5-inch topper. I like that. All right, so we're gonna cut right here. All right, so we'll have 2 tags and a journal cover. And let me measure the height. So it is 7 1/2 inches tall. I'm gonna take it down just a smidge, just because I don't want to decorate it and then have it be too big and then have to cut through cloth or earrings or something like that. So now we should be about 7. I think that's going to work really well. That gives us an inch around for the actual, front of the journal. So that's what we've got. That's what we'll do today. I think that'll be a lot of fun. And I can either use these in a journal, I can sell it in my Etsy shop as a set. I think that's a nice idea. So before we get started on anything, let's go ahead and handle a few fundamentals, one of which is I'm just going to round the corners. Now that's not necessary. You guys don't have to round your corners. If you don't have a corner rounder, don't worry about it. I just felt like I would do that. And then these are going to be a little bit tall, if I'm honest with you. So let's take a little bit off, not too much though. Let's see, they are hitting at 7 1/2. So let's take about an inch. We'll take an 1 1/2 off. I'm just going to eyeball it. And that feels like an 1 1/2 to me. Well, that's about an inch. Let's see. That's exactly an inch. Which is fine. And let me see if I can do this one a little better. I think I was going for an 1 1/2. Let's see. Oh, here, let's take it off at this end. All right, I'm going to say that's an inch, and right here's an 1 1/2. Let's see. Let's measure it. Oh, it's an 1 1/4 inches, which is fine. So now I'm going to go ahead and round these corners, and that's done. Sometimes if you get a lot of layers on your tags, it's too late. You can't round those corners because you can't fit your corner rounder, over whatever goodies you've got sitting on top there. So. All right, now if you don't have, a master board ready to go, that's okay. Pick a piece of decorative scrapbook paper that you have. or plain, I mean, whatever. And then just make sure you back it onto something that's firm so it can be a tag. You know, you don't want your tags to be flimsy. So these are ready to go now. So are we starting big or starting small? So are we starting with the cover or the tags? Let's warm up by using maybe the tags, I'm thinking. I'm thinking that. But actually, no, I'm going to change my mind. Let's go ahead and play with our pieces. Now let me go ahead. This is the last of the, what is this? Cheesecloth. This is the last of the cheesecloth of this color that I have. And I actually found this on clearance at Hobby Lobby when I very first started getting into junk journaling. And so I've had it for, I don't know, 4 years, I suppose. All right, so we have a piece, and you can see that crumpled, it can become very small. So we might need more of that, but that's what we'll start with for now. We have this. This probably is going to go on the cover. And we might even have extra loads of fun and put this burlap on. I think it's a nice opposite of this. So I think texturally, I think that'll look pretty cool. And I might not use the whole sheet. I might just use part of it. Let's go ahead and cut it now. We'll put the rest on the tags. And then I'm just gonna take some of these pieces out to give it a little bit more of a fluffy edge. Uh-oh, okay, so this is the actual edge of it. And I think I'll leave that the way it is because I like how it's sewn right there, and I think that looks pretty neat. Let's take these pieces out. There, that's looking great. All right, so we've got that ready. And we're just gonna play for a second. Now, another thing you can do with cheesecloth and this sort of stuff, you can get gesso out and you can paint gesso over it and give it like a distressed look, but I don't know that I'm gonna do that, at least not right now. We might go in later and do that. All right, my friends, I feel like this piece is just a little bit too big. So I think in order to be able to work with it a little more easily, I'm gonna make it smaller. A little bit more manageable. Yeah, then I can cut away some of that extra, and then I can put it down here if I want to, or I can put it up here on the burlap, which I like that. I think that looks pretty neat. Might do that. I feel like there's some paper on the back. Oh, there is. Let's get rid of that. I could kind of see through the thing. Okay, so let's say this is how we've got it, okay? And we have this crumpled up here. I like that. I like all that texture. And then we've got our burlap. So then if we were gonna go ahead and put a piece of jewelry, and I can alter this jewelry in order to get it on here properly, but let's play with a few things. Let's pretend this was one, that's just adorable, just the way it is right there. I mean, I love that. But let's move it over, even though I'm feeling tempted to just stick with that. Let's go ahead and try one of these because I think this might look neat also. I will have a video coming out, and I don't know if it'll be before or after this one, but I'm sharing with you different ways to use your old jewelry, upcycle the jewelry, on covers of your journals. So keep an eye out for that if you like this sort of thing. All right, so we have this, and this could go right here. What do you think? That looks nice too. Wow. That looks really nice. And you know what? You know what I like about that is this is so bulky. I couldn't really ever use this inside of a journal. It's got this big bead on it, and it sticks out quite a bit. Hope you can see that. And so I like the idea of using this on the cover. Now let's see if I could use both of them on this cover. If not, one goes back in the box and we use it later. No, we can't. That's okay. It just doesn't work. You know, it's just too much. But that being said, I've got this earring. We could always add this like up in the corner. It kind of looks like a shell. It blends in really nicely, so it's subtle, but yet it's there, taking up a little space, so I like that. I kind of like this, guys. Let's go ahead and start putting things down. This got hooked on the, on the cheesecloth. All right, so I think what I'm gonna do is, there's a lot of ways that we could adhere this, but I'm just gonna use my hot glue. You can use Mod Podge if you'd like. You could use Fabri-Tac. Oh yeah, Fabri-Tac would be fine. I think that's a great start. Now, if you're going to use burlap, before you pop it on, if you'd like to add a little white gesso on it, you could. Should we do it, or paint? You could add paint to it. Should we do that just for fun? Let me go grab some. When I get craft supplies, sometimes when they're new, I try to thrift as much as I can, but sometimes I get new things and they come on these little clear plastic things. I keep these because they're really handy, especially handy for something like this. So if I want to get this dirty, I don't have to get my whole table dirty, and you know, it was gonna end up in the trash anyway, so I figure, why not keep them for something like this? Now I am gonna just use my finger. You can use a paintbrush though, but I don't mind getting my fingers wet. And I'm not gonna worry about any specific pattern. I am just popping it on there. And then I'm gonna take this is some watered down minty color paint. Oops. And so I'm just gonna add a little bit of that in there as well. All right, my friends, I've got the paint on here, a little bit of gesso, a little bit of paint. It's not quite dry. I could blast it with my heat tool, but my daughter actually grabbed that from me and is using it for something. And actually, since it is wet, maybe I'm gonna dab a little bit on the cheesecloth here, just to see if we get any on there. It might add a little something to it. Mixed media, it's really about playing and having fun. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and get some glue on here, and I think I'm going to put it right about here. So I'm going to get my glue right here. I'm going to put a little dot right here in the corner area. Now we're ready for this piece, and as I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking to myself, it really looks very wedding-ish. And that is not the look I'm going for. I'd rather go a little bit more for a beachy look, you know, a coastal look. So I'm going to grab a marker, and I have this color here. It's really pretty, and it works with the color palette that we're using today. And I'm just going to see what happens if I go ahead and add some of this to the leaves. Now this is interesting. This shows this color, but it's coming out really, really blue, which is so funny. Let me see if I can find another one. That is not even close to the color it says it's supposed to be. So let's grab this one. This one should be actually very blue. So let's do it over here. Yeah, it is, which that's fine. I'll do some of those like that. Okay, let me see if I can get something a little more green. I've got this one. This says it's light green. Let's find out. Let's try it here. And it is. So we're going to go ahead and use this on the leaves. Oh, I like the combo actually when I put them together. I think that looks really pretty. What now? Should we introduce another color into this piece? See what we have here. Honestly, it doesn't look very different from whatever it was this one. It should, but it doesn't. Yeah, I see a little bit of a difference there. Not much though. Let's see what this one does. This is a different brand, so it might be more true. Yes, it definitely is way more true than the other ones. I like that. That's super pretty. So I'm going to go around all of these. So yeah, if you have some markers, it can be pretty much, I think, any kind of marker, and you want to add something to an embellishment that you have, this is a great way to do it. I'm adding a little bit of this color. It's kind of a
bronze color, and I feel like that will go nicely with the burlap. There, what do you guys think of that? Well, I guess we'll know when we try it on and see how it looks. And real quick before we do that, I'm just going to trim away just a little bit of the outside here. What do you guys think about that? I like it. I think that looks super cute. And so I think what I'm going to do before we adhere this down, I want to go over a little bit more of the white with this bronze. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that when I put the hot glue on, I put it on spots where it won't show through. All right, that's looking good, I think, anyway. Let me know what you think. Let's go ahead and get our piece of jewelry on, and let's try them on for size one more time before we commit. So here's this one, and I do like it because it's nice and big. And then I'm going to try on this one, which is so cute, but we might use these for the tags. Ah, it's so pretty. Oh my goodness. Isn't it so pretty? But let's definitely use it for the tags. And we'll have one on each tag. I think that'll be super cute. Okay. Yeah, so let's go ahead and use this. And I was thinking about removing this O-ring here. I was going to say, if you don't have a piece of needle nose pliers or a pair of needle nose pliers, you definitely want to get some. And then these rings are super handy. You can put this right in it and twist it, and it makes opening up the O-rings or the jump rings really, really easy. Some you can open by hand, but this one is particularly strong, and so I was not able to do it by hand. Now, for something like this, I like to use gem tack because it works great, and it's a good thing to have in your arsenal to use with flat back gems, jewelry, anything like that. Just so you know, it does say this: it bonds embellishments to many surfaces including fabric, wood, glass, plastics, and more. And it does. I have never had a problem with it. It bonds it, and the stuff stays where you put it. So I do recommend it. And just so that you know, it does dry clear. So there it is. What do you think? Should we add something? So this is going to be a journal cover. So I would say I wouldn't add anything else right now. Once it's on the journal, then you might add something to make it, work with whatever fabric is being used and all of that. So for now, this is done. Hold on a sec. No, it's not. Remember, we were going to go ahead and add this piece. So I say, let's do that. Yeah, that corner was really plain. And this one down here is too, but I almost envision when it's on the journal, I envision a piece of trim cascading down from this onto the journal cover. So I don't want to do anything to it now. There we go. That will dry to the cheesecloth. Okay, I think this is a really pretty piece, and I do think it's at a stopping point. Like I said, once it goes onto a journal cover, then more things can be added, but we don't want to overdo it right now, I feel like. Let me give you a little bit of a close-up of it. So just remember that the glue that you see here, that will dry clear. You won't even see it. So sort of ignore that. But I think it turned out really great, and we got to use 3 different textures, which I think is fantastic. Let's go ahead and put these tags together real quick. So I like to tear because it gives me a really nice frayed edge, which definitely adds to the feeling of having extra texture. All right, so now we've got 2 of these that we can use on our tags. I say let's go ahead and use this up so it's not hanging around anymore. We'll cut this in half. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to actually cut it. I can't tear this. I don't think that would go well at all. But we will pull the ends off there just to give it a little extra fray. I think that one looks great. Do the same over here. There we go, looking nice. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's see how we want to do this. We could do similar to what we did before. We have our burlap, and then we could do our fabric. And you could place it right in the center and just have a nice organized layering effect, or we could turn them so that they're, you know, crooked or laying across or something like that, or this one could be here and this could be here. I almost like, believe it or not, I almost like this sort of one in the other, but I do want this to be a little thinner. This might be hard to tear, but let's find out. Yeah, sometimes when you go with thin pieces, you try to get a thin piece to be a little thinner. It can be tough, but we got it. So let's say we were going to do that. There we go. I like that. I think that looks nice. And let's say we were going to do the same thing over here. Looking good. Do we even need this? I don't know. I mean, maybe we don't. Let's see about cutting this. So now we have two pieces, and one could be here, and one could be here. We're just playing, and maybe that's too much. Maybe we don't need all that. And then we have our cute little earrings. And these could go right here, like that. That's pretty cute. You know, we don't have to have, actually, it kind of detracts from it, doesn't it? It does. I like it like this. Let's do that. My friends, I wanted to show you, this is the cover. It is dry, so all the glue is dry, and I think it looks great. And then here is one of the coordinating tags. I think that turned out so pretty. I really love it. And then here is the other one. So the tags are very similar, but what is different is the backgrounds, because it was a master board, right? So there is the set. I really like it. I think I'll list this in my Etsy shop because it's such a pretty set, and I think it could really do well in a blue journal, a coastal journal, you know, anything with this wonderful color palette. My friends, I hope you enjoyed this today. I enjoyed spending this time with you and sharing some tips about how to get some texture into your collages. The theme for the texture today was the cheesecloth and the burlap, but as we discussed, you can use almost anything to create some texture. You know, scraps of clothing or parts of dresses or purses, or you can just get texture almost anywhere. So my friends, thanks for watching. See you soon.